What are the benefits of training here at Costa Performance? I've been asked this question a lot of times, to be honest, and I think one strong thing we have is the quality of the professionals that work here. So we have doctors, masters, people with experience over 10 years in professional sports, people with experience in over one sport, and I do believe that brings such a nice sauce for all we do here and contribute to our strong competitive environment. Now, the training is fun, the training has some entertainment, but a majority of the time has so much technical components that when you're alone, it's very tough to have it. So we can provide like a technical assessment immediately on spot. We can provide variation on the exercises. We can provide a multi-global type of approach where not only one capacity is fully stimulated, we stimulate everything that we consider is important for the sport. Our main know-how is on tennis, but we have like soccer people here. We have squash now more and more. We have volleyball, basketball, track and field, running. So the expertise is very, very, very large. On top of that, we have a full customization on the training, and that's for me the most important thing. I do not believe there's just like a copy and paste someone else's training is what are going to offer the best alternative for me in terms of developing my performance. So we assess the athlete initially, we provide a year-round training regimen. We reassess, we see where the weak links are, we see what we can explore a little bit more. And more importantly, we do that in all levels. We do that for the group in the long-term athletic development, which are the kids that will go, we have kids here since like 7 years old, all the way up to the professional career. We do college athletes, we do professional athletes. We have like a good background on biomechanics and exercise physiology. We mix all of these together. We create a very, very nice environment, competitive, but a fun, and we do believe like that in relation to only training on its own, where you have the risk of bad form, where you have the risk of unilateral type of training, where you have the risk or even lack of motivation. On top of like having someone to stimulate you like our coaches, we have the other athletes around you. If you feel like the lack of energy one day, probably by seeing people around you like pushing themselves hard, you're gonna find some motivation and take the best out of your session. One aspect I also notice is more often the strength training gains some popularity in sports, but we try to not train a specific muscle as we see majority of the programs doing on the regular strength centers. We go more on the movement, we go more on the pattern, we go more on the whole unit acting together, which some people pinpoint to the term functional training. So for sports specifically, we see much more benefit on the strength development, which we call joint stability, rotational transfer, etc., which is associated to the functional training type, instead of like the monoarticular or single motion type of training that we find on the regular strength programs. We're very focused here with the injury prevention. So for me, happy athlete is the athlete that is capable to perform his or her activity. So that's a point that we have strong when compared to, the only like people training on their own. We do offer also physical therapy services here, which is great because not only working for people that are in the experience of an injury, but even for maintenance to avoid that injury. We have nutritionists, so we have a full multidimensional approach for anyone that wants to succeed on their own sport.